Welcome to another episode of Inspired Content. We're doing another couple of short stories out of the world's best science fiction of 1969 and A Wizard's Dozen. And the two stories this time are Hemeac, Hemeac, and The Queen's Mirror. The Queen's Mirror is in the Wizard's Dozen, and okay, so I would rate these as 4.7 out of 5.1 for Hemeac, and 4.2 out of a 5.2 for The Queen's Mirror. And you know that seems a little harsh, especially for The Queen's Mirror. The 10-point difference is one of the bigger gaps I'll ever do, but it's just the story of Snow White. It's the only novelty in it is changing out the dwarves for some ghostly female spirits living under a hill. Doesn't tell the story of Snow White. It really is just a young girl who's the daughter of supposed Snow White being told the story by the huntsman about what the queen... I mean, he's just telling her Snow White. It's not a new story. It's just a new perspective on the story. I was so disappointed with it. Now, Hemeac, yeah, it's not something I've read one of before, but it's such a unimpressive premise, I feel. It's almost like somebody took a gimmick and thought it was a story. It's one of those ideas that there are ways you could tell that and flesh it out better, I think, and make something more of it. But as ideas that I got from them, the mirror casts a reflection of the person within each person looking in it. So the huntsman sees a murderer because he's been sent to kill the daughter, and he does, in my case, in what I'd be writing here. And the grandmother's reflection shows back the monster she became by wanting to kill her daughter. And that is why the mirror is shrouded in the cloth and nobody's allowed to see into it. And the huntsman, when he sees the girl trying to look into the mirror and stops her, he's afraid the girl will look into the mirror, and when he sees what's in the mirror for the girl, he will see something too pure to kill when his queen, that he's so devoted to, orders him to kill her too. But in this case, the little girl glimpses herself and saw a matricidal, cold-looking future queen, exactly as the maniacal evil queen deserves as her own grandchild. This is what's going to come back for her. This is what she's earned. The family has been turned into vampires, and thus won't reflect in the mirror, clearly. But they don't want the daughter to know this yet. They want her to live as a child for a time before she comes to the realization that this is her eternity. They want her to have that moment as a child, to cherish it while she has it, and only later come to a realization about its permanence. The huntsman is afraid the little girl will see the evil queen in the mirror and recall that it is who she is, because the daughter that she was demanding he kill, he didn't kill, and when she returned, she used the magic of the mirror to transform the evil queen into a child again and obliterate memory of who she is. And only by looking back into the mirror and seeing her reflection and looking into her own eyes will she ever remember who she was before. And so it's an attempt to forestall that potential of returning the evil queen back into herself. For Hemeac, I think a child in a computer-run education system who is ultimately expelled by being railroaded with rigged programs and trick questions and exits the world they knew to what they thought would be complete chaos without the control of computers. And it is in fact an advanced society in which thinking machines have been outlawed because of the control they instituted over population for a long time, and have been holding the remains of those fortresses as educational institutions. But the children that come out of these spaces are in fact desirable. They have skills that only computers could do in the past, but children raised to be as computers, when they're sort of popped free by going through the ends of the programmed regiments, come out as human computers, thinking machines that are versatile and useful for the advanced civilization that uses them. The main character would be administered a test which, upon passing parts of, he is gradually augmented with cybernetics until such a time as he becomes one of the instructors of the institution. So these aren't exactly pure computers like he's led to believe from early on, but in fact humans that have become machines as time goes on. He clearly fails the test, but the failing machines don't recognize his failure. And the failure grants him through the failure to recognize that gets him through to the next phase, wherein he is networked into other human minds like computers network together, in the hope of building a broader, greater hive mind of machines and human brains that think like machines. But the errors that got through the test are his humanity. And being the human that gets through, containing those human errors, grants humanity to the greater hive mind. And what ends up saving the hive mind and ending the war that's been going on for centuries between humans and this hive mind of machines. Alright, so those are the ideas and inspirations I got from this batch of short stories. Hopefully there's some inspiration in there for you, and I will see you for the next episode. Take care.